A mental murderer. He put a new song in my mouth, a hymn of praise to our God. Many will see and fear the Lord and put their trust in him. Psalm 43. Her husband thrust out his hand holding a box. What is this? You know what it is. It's a present. For what? Because you've been so good to me. I don't think I've done anything so good to you. And right then, a series of memories flashed through her mind again. Those times were nightmares, the past she never wanted to look back on again. Her husband was born to Christian parents and had been a Christian himself all his life. And that was the main reason she married him. Without a doubt, she assumed that he would be a faithful and exemplary husband and father. To her disappointment, though, he was far from being faithful or honest. It didn't take her long to realize after getting married that hanging out with all kinds of women was one of his favorite hobbies. If it was only possible, she wanted to take back her decision to marry him. Her marriage was one of the continuous frustration and despair. She thought he might change when they had a baby, but soon she realized her expectation was wrong. She pleaded with him in tears, threatened him, and had left home alone, leaving the baby behind. She even had him sign a note promising he would never again have an affair with another woman and taken him to court to get divorced. Yet he would not change. She always immersed herself in recalling all those unpleasant times with her husband. Her body was always cold. Her face was pale with an angry look in her eyes. She had a habit of talking about her past whenever she had a chance. She was completely ruined and exhausted because of her jealousy and anger toward her husband. Every part of her body hurt and ached. At Shimta, we refer to talking and thinking about past as singing an old and outdated song. I told her not to sing those old, outdated songs. And I told her to sing a new song, sharing her experience of victories by dwelling in Jesus Christ. Still, she kept holding onto those outdated songs. This bad habit was driving her to the grave. She continued to grow so weak that soon she was unable to even sit still because she had no more energy or strength left in her body. Yet, even while lying down on her bed, she couldn't let go of her feelings of resentment and jealousy and kept singing those old songs ever so perfectly without a single error. I said to her, "You know how we shouldn't have any lingering feelings or regrets about an arrow that has already been shot. The same goes for our past. We have a responsibility to control our thoughts. Every time those past situations come up in your mind, make up your mind not to think about them and call upon Jesus while reciting a verse or two that you have memorized from the Bible. I promise you will experience something good." She nodded her head, saying that she understood. But the minute I left, she would forget. She was the best singer of those oldies at Seoram Shimto. Watching her repeat this habit, I realized that all I could do was to pray for her. One day, she said to me, "You know, I really want to quit singing those oldies, but it just takes me a half a second to forget about Jesus and go back to singing those songs. How can I stop this?" You must make a firm decision to strongly and continuously keep your mind and spirit focused on Jesus. Whenever those distracting thoughts pop up in your mind, you must make up your mind to cast them away and keep calling upon Jesus for help. Don't give up. Keep calling Him. Then you will be freed from them. Trust me, it works. Filled with hatred and resentment instead of good and happy memories of her marriage, she finally decided to take control of those negative thoughts. Every time those thoughts came into her mind, she went outside by herself to take a walk in the mountains and fields and chanted Bible verses. She must have looked almost like an insane person as she continuously cried out the name of Jesus and spoke Bible verses out loud while wandering around in order to drive out the negative thoughts. She stayed alone and only read the Bible because she was afraid she might end up singing those old songs again if she hung out with people. Finally, the day of victory came. She was now able to control her thoughts. When she continuously cast her soul upon God, the amazing miracle and grace of God brought peace and joy to her heart. For the first time, she remembered the times she had done wrong things to her husband. She had always belittled and ignored him and failed to lead her children to respect him. She was cold to him. She removed his position at home. Thinking back, it was herself who made him feel out of place. She had never said thank you to her husband, let alone I love you. But now she was more tender and gentle. She no longer had those fierce and cold expressions on her face. When her husband came to Shinto to visit her, she confessed her wrongs to him and asked for his forgiveness. She confessed her thankfulness and love for him in tears. Her husband was completely taken aback by the dramatic change that had occurred in her. He apologized to her as well, thanking her repeatedly for forgiving him for mentally murdering her countless times. He was so thankful, and that's why he had brought a present for her. Needless to say, they became one of the sweetest couples, and she recovered her health completely.